Hello and welcome to Derv Derp and Friends Reviews. I'm Derv Derp.
Oh, I'm Ski Nerd.
Uh, First of all, remember to like, subscribe, comment. We did hit 22K yesterday, and
Hey, you
we're
all.
raising it up. Um, we are trying a different title for our streams, and we're trying them out. See which one works better. So give us feedback on that. And before we get into the review, I do want to say that we did have some Yakuza Like a Dragon news come out today that I'm excited for. As people that know me, I'm a huge Yakuza fan. But we got Yakuza Like a Dragon Majima Pirate in Hawaii announced today. I think that was the full title of the game. Majima's my favorite character. We also got Munetaka Aoki announced to be playing as him in the Amazon Prime live action series coming out next month. That we'll also be reviewing when that comes out. Which I'm excited for.
And I'm.
Indifferent.
Uh-huh.
He'll be a noob going into Yakuza. He hasn't played any of the games or watched the movie.
I'm sure a lot of people haven't played any of the games. Like hundreds of thousands, even millions of people. So I'm in the majority here.
But I forgot what I was gonna say. uh, this is the second to last video of this style for the One Piece reviews. We're gonna do 7 episodes tonight, 7 episodes Sunday night, and we're gonna skip the last 7 episodes of the first season because it's considered filler, and then go right to season 2. And that we're gonna try to do weekly, but we're gonna upload a video when we both have finished that arc. So, but we're gonna try to do an arc weekly. Some of the longer ones might be harder to do, but we're gonna try. And then that will be more of a summary than a synopsis of the seasons.
Yep. It's gonna take forever and hate every single one of you.
You're lucky. The first, I looked before, first 2 arcs are only 15 episodes. So the first 2 arcs, we should be able to get those done in a week. Because the 15 episodes shouldn't be that hard to do in 7 days, I wouldn't think. For you, even you, Mike? Or Ski Nerd?
Oh, yeah. Who's Nikkei you're talking about?
Ski Nerd? That shouldn't be that hard for you
Oh, yeah.
in a week. And once we get to the ones that are like 50 episodes, those might be those might take 2 weeks. Because that's even pushing it for me.
2 weeks or even 3 weeks.
We'll still do our weekly movie reviews. And we'll still do our Yakuza once that comes out. October 24th. And after all those announcements, let's get to the review.
Okay, so what happened last time on Yu-Gi-Oh?
Card games on motorcycles.
I can't stand it. It's terrible. All right, review over. No, okay, so
Card
we were
games,
for episodes 41, 47, and when we last left off, Nami arrived to kill Arlong, and
I didn't watch 47, but oh well, I know what happens.
Yep. Basically, Arlong gives Nami a choice of, oh, you're trying to kill me, huh? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill your entire village if you try to kill me, and I'll leave you alive to navigate charts for the rest of your life. Or you can voluntarily come with me, and the village will be alive. It's up to you. And she kind of goes back and forth and just like, oh my god. And it goes to like a butterfly in a web, basically. And what her choices are, what she's deciding. And she ultimately chooses, I'm going to die with the villagers. And he's like, all right. And so he's like, all right, I'm going to kill him now. And then Luffy gets revived. Thank God. We've only been waiting for X amount of episodes for that to happen. Oh, nice. And
we have 2 people currently watching.
Huh?
Currently 2 people watching.
Hello, 2 random people. Don't forget to unlike and unsubscribe. So do it. Anyways, all right. So welcome to our review, and we're reviewing. This is live, folks, and strap in. You're gonna hear some serious stuff. All right, cool. So Nami decides to die with the village, and Luffy gets revived just in time. All this water pops out of his lungs and stuff like that, and we're like, "Whoa, wow!" And he's asked by, I think he's being caressed by Gensan, and he's like, "Oh, wow, I'm alive." He's like, "Oh, do you feel strong?" He's like, "Nope," because the underwater soaks up his energy, and that's proven to be the case for sure. And when they hear Luffy say stuff, Sanji and Zoro, who are on the ground, hang up and they're like, haha, our captain's here. Now you're in trouble. And Zoro he's like, I have about 30 seconds of staying tonight. Because he is so seriously injured that no normal man could withstand it. But he's Zoro. And so Sanji dives in to try to kick the rock that's on Luffy's legs, and we see that Hachi's alive, and Hachi's like, hey, I'm not dead yet. I don't like you, Zoro. I'm going to attack you. And he's like, oh, screw that. I'm going to go attack your friend that's in the water, Sanji. And then it cuts to Usopp. He returns, and he fires a projectile into Arlong's face. So that's fun. Giving Luffy extra time to get revived before he goes over there. And he's like, ha 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 ha, I'm gonna attack you. Ha ha, I'm here. Ha, I'm the greatest hero alive. I killed the what's his name? The blue guy?
True.
The blue fit man.
True.
Choo. 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 I remember now. And he's like, haha, I've defeated him. And then Arlong was like, what? You defeated him? No more human can defeat him. He's a fishman and you're a stupid human. How can this be possible? So Zoro kind of gets in his way, and he's starts slashing at him, and he goes for his nose. He's like, I'm going to attack your nose. I'm going to cut that right off. He does a full blast sword swing right into his face, and his nose is not affected at all. He's like, well, maybe if you were at full strength, it might dent it a little bit, but my nose is not destructible. All right. C versus A. And at this moment, Arlong is really strong, so he takes Zoro by the throat and he's holding him up, and he looks into his eyes and he says, oh wow, this guy, I've never seen anyone like this. This guy is crazy. I have to kill him right now. Like, this guy is way too determined, or whatever power he has. And he also looks at his wounds. He's like, oh crap, how is this man alive? Oh my god. Let's see. And then, after Hachi goes into the pool, Zoro starts laughing. He's like, wounds stay stitched together when you stand still. And Arlong's like, what? What are you talking about? Of course I know that. And he's like, well, your friend doesn't. And Hachi's like diving in to try to attack Luffy on the ground. And he dies from his wounds because he's moving around. He got slashed by Zoro earlier. So he dies. Stupid Hachi. I actually really like Hachi, but see how dumb he is. Anyways, so Hachi dies from wounds, and then Luffy finally gets free because Sanji kicks the rocks, and he's like moving up, and he gets flung into the air, and he starts falling down towards the earth, and he flings his arms where Zoro is, and Zoro's like, oh god, please don't do it, Luffy. And then Zoro's like, or Luffy's like, yay, swap time, I'll take your place. And he flings Zoro into the air, and everybody's like, no, don't do that. Because he's injured. Oh god. He's like, I'll never forgive you for this, Luffy. Anyways. Then Luffy starts warming up, and he starts like beating up Arlong for a little bit. And Arlong's like, is that the best you got? He's like, nope, that was just a warm-up. And the episode ends. So now we get the real battle. Finally.
I forgot to mention the first episode was called Luffy at Full Power and Nami's Determination in the Straw Hat.
Yeah.
And then episode 42 is called Explosion, Fishman Arlong's Fierce Assault from the Sea.
Mm-hmm. All right. So they keep fighting, and Luffy notices Arlong's teeth, and he almost gets bit, and they're like, everybody who's watching is like, oh, he bit a stone pillar. Haha, that'll break his teeth for sure. And he bites through the stone pillar, and then everybody's like, oh crap, if he bites Luffy, he'll be dead. Like, those teeth are gonna go through bones. And so Luffy picks up a couple swords and he starts swinging them around. He's like, ha ha! And Arlong goes, oh, do you know how to use swords? And he just starts swinging them randomly at Arlong. And he takes a slash at his face, so he bites the sword. And as the sword is in his mouth, the sword gets crushed. But he punches him with the sword, and he breaks Arlong's teeth. And everybody's like, yeah, he broke his teeth. And I can't use them. And
a complete
Arlong's like,
a complete 180 contrast to what we were mentioning 2 episodes ago about Zoro's battle intellect.
Yeah. Luffy doesn't really have any battle intelligence. Like, Goku is smarter than he is. That's saying a lot. Because we all know how smart Goku is. Anyways. He has the teeth, and he's like, and he just takes out his teeth, rips them out. He's like, bruh, I'm a shark. I'm superior. Like, by the way, Arlong is so obsessed with his superiority. He is a devout racist towards anyone that's not Fishman.
It's actually funny because in the in the one of the big differences for 4Kids is instead of humans, he calls them pumans. In the 4Kids.
With a P?
Yeah.
Humans?
PEWMANS. He's still racist in the 4Kids, which is funny.
Yeah. He's like, we're superior in every single way.
You'd think they would have edited over that for 4Kids.
Yeah, in the 4Kids universe, Nazis don't exist. Yeah, they're just bad guys.
Also, guns don't exist either. Finger guns do, though.
Oh, that's true.
Yu-Gi-Oh reference.
All right. So he takes out a set of teeth, and he's like, "See, I grow them back, and every time they grow back, they get stronger." And he takes out another set of teeth, and he's like, "See, now they're extra strong, haha!" And he takes his jaws or whatever, his teeth remains, and he puts them in his hands. He's like, haha, teeth attack. And he's like biting Luffy with his hands and his mouth. And Luffy's trying to dodge it. Luffy does get bit by this, and he's able to get out of it. And before this happens, he's like, "Oh, I got a plan." And the two bounty hunters are like, "Oh, Big Brother Luffy, he's got a plan? All right, I wonder what plan that is." And Luffy's big plan is to put a set of teeth in his own mouth so he can bite Arlong. And he does, but he's just like, haha, you don't have the jaws. You know, we were blessed by the gods to have superior strength in every way. Yeah, and you don't have the jaw strength, and like, what can you do by yourself? Nothing. And Luffy's like, yeah, you're right. I can't do anything. He can't cook. He can't navigate, and he can't lie. Pointing to Usopp, and Usopp's like, "Hey, whoa, don't say that about me." He's like, "Yeah, I rely on other people to complete stuff." And I think this is where they're talking about like biting the stone pillar or whatever. He's like, I can bite the stone pillar, and then Luffy like punches the pillar. He's like, "We completed the same task. You're making no sense." He's like, "That's not the point." And everybody's like, you got the pillar too. You're stupid, Arlong. That's funny. Let's see. And then Arlong gets mad at this, so he dives in the water. And they're like, "Oh no, you're in the water!" And he's like, swimming around. It's like, watch out, he's fat, his powers are doubled in the water. And, well, Luffy is actually smart enough not to go into the water, because he can't swim. He does the shark dart attack, so he basically becomes a missile and shoots himself at Luffy, and he gets attacked, and he barely dodges out of the way. And Arlong's nose is the piercing unit. And he's like, "Oh, okay, well, I missed." Well, and then he keeps doing it from inside the building, too. And after he misses again, Arlong jumps in the water again. And he's like, "Watch out, Arlong's coming." And then, Luffy has another plan. So he does Gummo Gummo shield. And he puts his fingers out and makes a shield. With his finger, he like pulls his fingers from one hand to make a stretch, and he gets there's another shark dart, and Arlong hits directly at Luffy, and he's able to grasp Arlong's head. He's like, "Ha! I was able to stop you," and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're gonna die! Oh no, you're not dead yet." We really got 1,000 episodes to get, so spoiler alert.
1,000 and counting.
Yeah, so he's able to thwart his stupid shark dart, and then he does this thing called Gum Gum Finger Net, and while he's in the air, he surrounds Arlong again and slams him down to the ground, and then Arlong gets super mad. His eyes change, and I forget who it is. I think it's like Sanji that mentions that, oh man, he's as mad as those sea creatures that get mad. I forget what they were called.
Seeking.
Certain, like,
Seeking.
It was like Seeking? Okay.
Yeah.
And like the one that attacked Shanks that we saw. And then he goes inside and he grabs a shark saw, which is a giant sword. Giant sword. And Luffy's like, oh my god, what a giant sword. And it's super heavy. And he's able to swing it like it's nothing, of course. And he's like, oh, this is my shark saw. Haha, you could never survive this. And he kind of gets pushed up. Gets swung in the survey room, and then Nami notices it. She's like, "Oh, that's the room," and it's the room where she made all the maps and stuff for Arlong. And let's see, that's the end of that episode. Episode 43.
End of the Fishman Empire. Nami's my friend. It's episode 43.
And they land in this room, and Luffy's looking around, and Arlong goes up there. He's like, welcome to the highest room in my building, in my tower. He's like, yeah, this is where I used Nami to draw these maps for my empire. And Luffy goes, what did you say? You said use? And this is when Luffy's looking around, and Arlong has the upper hand, and he puts his sword up to Luffy. He's like, you're not getting out of this. And he hears the word use, and Arlong refers to Nami as his quote-unquote friend. And Luffy starts grabbing the sword, and Arlong tries to move it, but he's like, wait, I can't move my sword. What's going on? Luffy's like super mad, and he's like looking around, super mad, and he breaks off one of the saw teeth of the shark's saw, with a surprise to Arlong and to literally everyone. Well, I suppose only Arlong, but to the audience, that's crazy that he's able to break this giant sword or saw thing.
Sawtooth sword.
Yeah, saw sword. And then he mentioned his plan to once I kill you, I'm going to use Nami I'm going to force her to make a map of the entire world, and then she can be free. And after he breaks the sword, he walks over to one of the desks, and he notices a pen. And he's like, yeah, that's the pen that she used to make the maps and stuff like that. Yeah, we're going to make a great empire. It's really awesome. And he sees the blood on it. So basically, it implies that Arlong forced Nami to write map after map after map until her fingers bled, which is crazy. So after all this, Luffy is even more mad than he was before. He kicks the desk outside, and everybody thinks it's, Luffy. And they're like, oh, how dare you think that was Luffy? No. Anyways, and he starts the desk, and then he starts destroying all these charts and stuff like that. And Arlong's like, no, what are you doing? These are the charts. And Luffy's reasoning behind this is that these are charts that Nami was forced to draw instead of willingly wanting to draw. So these aren't Nami's charts. These are Arlong's charts. In order to set Nami free, he has to destroy them. And so he, kind of goes to all these different charts, and he takes, I think he has a sword left, and he starts, slashing things and kicking all these bookshelves out and destroying them. And Nami looks up and sees the desk and the books and the papers, and she says, doesn't say it to Luffy himself, of course, but she says, thank you. And that was a big moment, like, super emotional. Everybody started crying. So they have the battle on the building, and it's kind of the last huzzah of Arlong, and he's just like, he does this shark teeth twister attack or whatever, and Luffy's like, oh, Gummo Gummo Battle Hammer! And he's not scared, and he basically, because of his anger, he's able to bust Arlong through all like 5 stories of the building into the ground, and everybody sees this building collapse, and they're like, oh my god, this building collapsed, what happened? Oh, I hope Luffy's okay. I hope Luffy's not dead. And find out Luffy's alive. Everybody celebrates. Everybody's like, yeah, this is awesome. Arlong's defeated. He's in the ground. And immediately when the battle ends, the corrupt colonel from the Navy comes up, and he's like, haha, well, you defeated Arlong. Well, this is great. Well, I was going to take a third of that cut from the 100 million, but I guess I'll be taking all of it now, and I'll be claiming victory over Arlong, and thanks for all the hard work. And then Zoro from behind just, like, kicks him, and he's like, don't make these happy people sad. How dare you? And, the colonel gets all hurt. He's like, bullied by Zoro and Luffy, and then Nami kicks him, takes her stick and hits him. He's like, and she's like, yeah, this is for shooting my sister. And then Gensan comes out, and he's just like, hey, do that 1,000 more times, and we're even. And he's all like a little child. He's like throwing a temper tantrum. He's like, you ruined this day, Luffy. I'm gonna get you. Yeah, bad things are coming for you. And so, at the end of the episode, we see the colonel from the Navy make a phone call on a snail, which is fascinating. They have, instead of phones, they have snail calls. And that's crazy. He mentions, he's like, hey, there's some new pirates out here. They just defeated Arlong. And, they're maniacs. They're going to be a threat to the government. We need to do something, put out a warning sign. And he puts out a picture. And he's like, the guy receiving it is like, oh, couldn't you find a better picture? He's like, no, that's the only one I could take. And it's just Luffy with the biggest smile on his face, and Usopp head turned in the background. So that episode ends. So and then the battle analysis. Boy, that was one giant battle. Like, holy crap. I mean, we could talk about the entire thing briefly, or we could talk about just Luffy and Arlong, but that entire battle it felt like, when are people going down? Like they come down, like Hashi, he goes down, he gets back up, and you get scared again, and you're like, oh no, he's up again. But I like how they add the injuries into the fights. Even Zoro's injury, like he got slashed like maybe like 20 episodes ago, or maybe not 20, but
it was like 10.
10 episodes ago.
It was like 10.
Yeah, and the creator puts into it like, oh yeah, he's still injured, and if he fights, he's gonna open his wound again. And it's like the care that they put into the little details and the little logic in the fights from like Zoro, like, hey, don't go into the water. They're trying to force us into the water, and also the wound thing. Like, hey, if you start moving with the wound, the slashing wound, it's gonna open up and kill you. And Zoro just being a badass and be like, yeah, I have a fever, but I'm gonna still stand up and do what I can. So that was crazy. But the fight with Arlong, like that build up was very well done.
And the fight itself was worth the wait.
Yeah, especially with seeing how powerful these creatures actually are, these fishmen, compared to like the beginning. You're like, oh, Arlong can't be said that strong. Like if they had the fight there and Luffy just defeated him, it wouldn't feel. You wouldn't. It doesn't humble you. You're not humbled enough to see how powerful Arlong actually is. You go through the smaller people, like the humans in the village, have no chance against Arlong. But you have Zoro and Sanji, which have a better chance. But even them, like they've been beat up, and Arlong just kicks their butt. Like Arlong is literally throwing water at them. Can't do anything. Somehow Usopp beats one of the fishmen. I don't know how. But
he sets him on fire.
You could chalk that up to luck.
He set him on fire, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well.
Because fire is apparently a fisherman's weakness.
Yeah. Well, it was specifically alcohol that was on him, and that was ignited. So, otherwise, it would do that much. But he was able to get him into the water, and he hit him in the head with a hammer.
In the dub, it literally said that their weakness is fire.
In the comics?
In the dub. In the English dub.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why he was defeated. Why he was.
I don't think it said that in the subtitle. Otherwise, I would have noticed it, or maybe it did. I don't know. If you want to correct us, leave a comment down below. Anyways,
I posted in the chat just saying, please let us know your opinions on the stream name.
And actually, on all the fights, I think Usopp's was the best because he was such a huge underdog. He was running away half the time. But you expect Zoro and Sanji to fight, but not Usopp, which made his win even more surprising. But even between Arlong and Luffy, that fight was actually just okay. It felt a lot longer than it was, just because they were stopping to talk, or they were cutting away to a different scene, or they were the villagers or the two bounty hunter bros were commenting on what was happening, and there was kind of lulls on the fighting, like with Hachi going to fight Sanji or try to fight him. But yeah, it would have been actually a super short fight, but I think with Luffy getting mad, that ended the fight a lot sooner than it normally would have been. Because if he makes him mad enough. I mean, even though Arlong was kind of rampagey too, but Arlong made Luffy so mad that he got extra power from that. I think that's what helped him. But he wins the day. Everybody's celebrating, so this is cool. And now he's finally getting his first wanted poster. which is kind of cool. And it also the end of this Arlong arc. It feels like, okay, the tutorial's now done. Now, and the creator's like, okay, the tutorial's now done. Now let me finally tell my story. Because usually shows start off with characters already known and they know each other, and it's just like, as an audience, we don't know who they are. We don't know what their strengths are. We don't know what their backstory is. We don't know what makes them mad. We don't know what their vices are. We don't know what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are. But you build up characters like this, and it only took, 40-some episodes to build up all these characters.
Yep.
Now it's just like coming into the sequel of a movie, that like a really good movie or whatever. Like Star Wars, for example. You're like, oh, this, Emperor Strikes Back. Hey, we all know these characters. What are they going to do now? And you're super excited. Or at the end of Spider-Man 2, right? And after he fights Doc Ock, you're like, man, these guys are really awesome. This is a great movie. Let's get into it. And he just goes into it from there, and there's like a lot more things to explore, which is really cool. I'm excited, especially with all the maps. All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I'm on a roll, man. I'm on a roll.
I was just starting to sing the Johto theme song.
Hold on, it's
a whole new world that we live in.
Yeah, but I'm excited for like the maps and stuff, because usually for me, this is my personal experience. But in a game or any kind of movie where you don't know where things are geographically, you're just in a confused state, basically. You don't know like where you are, why people are in certain places, why it's like, oh, I'm from this place. It's like I don't know why. Make me understand why I should care about that. But if you put a map to it, it kind of makes more sense. Okay, why like a Game of Thrones thing? They always show the map at the beginning, so it's like, oh, where's Winterfell? Where's what's the main castle? I forget what the main castle is called.
King's Landing.
King's Landing. Like it's like, why is King's Landing such an important area? Why is that the place to rule over all the other places? Well, because it's a centralized place, and you have Winterfell up in the north, and that is more prone to it's more colder, right? And then you have places in the south which is warmer, so they wear different things. They have different they build different weapons. They have different techniques, different languages, all that stuff. Like geography helps you understand people. It also helps you understand like a show or a movie or a video game or anything like that. But a lot of the maps, like we don't know where Luffy's village is. We know about Usopp's village. We know where Nami's village is, and that's pretty much it. However, we don't, because in the show they don't have the navigation. They don't have a whole lot of navigational charts. Excuse me. A lot of stuff is a mystery, and that can be really exciting. But it can also be like, well, where are we? I mean, we know we're in the East Blue, but that's like all we know. We know we're trying to go to the Grand Line, but that's all we know. And it's cool that Nami is making charts so we get a better understanding of like, oh, this is the Grand Line. Okay, that's kind of cool. Where do we go from here? Kind of thing. But anyways, that's my little rant on the show so far. But so that was episode 43. Episode 44.
Bounty. Straw Hat Luffy becomes known to the world. Or no?
Yes. Haha.
No, you said 44.
Yeah, 44.
Setting out with a smile, farewell, hometown, Kokoyashi Village.
Oh, there you go. That one works too.
I think you already pretty much covered that.
Well, some of it, like the first half of it.
Yep.
They're just, that's where the real celebration begins, and they have like a festival for like 3 days straight, and everybody's eating food. Luffy's eating food. Nothing but meat. More meat. More meat. More meat. Luffy really likes the meat. No pause. So the village is celebrating. Sanji wants to pick up girls. Zoro is one of the days he's getting sewn up by the doctor, and you can hear him in the background. He's like, and kind of funny. And the doctor's like, well, it's your fault. You're the one who fought with this injury, you stupid idiot. Nami reflects on her time in the village and her time with Gensan and her mom and her sister. And, her sister, they talk about Nami wants to get a new tattoo, and it kind of does a flashback with after Nami gets her Arlong tattoo, she's like ashamed. She's like, oh, I don't like having this tattoo on me, and so Jiko gets a tattoo of her own, and she's like, I got this tattoo, me. So now we're the same, making Nami feel a little better, which is nice. Nami's getting a new tattoo. She's getting the old one removed and getting a new one, and we don't know what it is yet. And then Luffy's looking for a melon with like raw meat inside of it or something like that. He's looking everywhere, and he's drunk on his meat. He loves his meat. And that's when he sees. And we got a reminder of Luffy. He has no sense of direction. So he winds up where Belamir's grave is, and he sees Gensan up there. And he's like, I send you my concussions, my concubines, what is it? Gensan's like, condolences. Yes, that one. And Gensan makes Luffy promise, like, if she, Nami has a smile on her face. If her smile ever stops, I'm going to kill you. And Luffy's like, her smile won't end. he's like, yeah, this is the point, I'm going to kill you if her smile ends, if you make her feel bad. Kind of thing. And they're about to set sail, and Nami's in her house, and she reminisces some more about her mom and stuff like that, and she sees her mom's ghost pretty much, and her mom is encouraging her to leave, and she gets a little push from her mom, which is nice. She turns around one last time, and she leaves the 93 million berries that she stole for Arlong, and she leaves them in the village because that's not hers. She was stealing for Arlong, and now she can get money her own way, and it'll be for her. But everybody's waiting they're about to set sail. Everybody's waiting for Nami, and they're looking around. The whole village is down there and looking around. Hey, where's Nami? Is she not coming? And Usopp was like, I guess she's not coming. All right, we might as well leave. And Nami appears at the top, and the whole village wants to say thank you to Nami and goodbye. And Nami runs through the entire village trying to avoid people, going left and right, left and right, left and right. And as she's running, she's like, Luffy, start the boat. He's like, okay. And she somehow has the strength to jump a great distance. And she lands on the boat, she turns around, and there's a cheerful goodbye, and she pulls out, she's like, oh, one more thing before I go, and she starts pulling out all these wallets, and they're all falling on the ship, and everybody in the village just realized that she stole all their money, and they're like, hey, what are you doing, you stupid pirate? But she's a pirate now. And they're all like, oh yeah, thank you, blah, blah, blah. But it's okay. I mean, she only left 93 million rupees. Like, they're fine. They can get new wallets and crap. So that's the end of that episode. So it's like, all right, cool. Now the adventure can really begin. So episode 45.
Now it's Bounty. Straw Hat Luffy becomes known to the world.
Yes. So, at the beginning of this episode...
This is probably going to be the shortest summary.
What?
Because not much happens.
No, not much happens at all. It'll be really quick for this one. Basically, we find Nami yelling at a bird for the prices going up on the newspaper. She finds the wanted poster, and she's like, "Oh my god, they're wanted! This is horrible!" And Luffy sees, "Oh, this is awesome!" He's like, "Oh my god, I'm in it! Yeah, I'm a totally awesome pirate!" And then Sanji's like, "Wait, why am I not in it?" And then he's just like, "Because you're not a captain like we are." And then it goes to like, it cuts to like literally everyone that we've seen before. It cuts to Kaya getting word that she sees Usopp on the poster, even though it's him with his back turned. She's like, "Oh my god, Usopp's famous! He's a famous pirate now." So it's really real. And then there's all these, like, even we see Captain Kuro, see the wanted poster, we see Luffy's village celebrating the fact that he's on the poster. And we see even some new characters. So what was that?
We see Don Krieg as well.
Oh, right. And we also see the bad guy from the first couple episodes, the Navy guy.
Captain Morgan. Captain Morgan.
Captain
Morgan. Morgan. As in the rum.
Captain Morgan, as in the rum. Got it. I think he was in jail, I think, and someone showed it to him.
Yeah.
And then Don Krieg saw it. All these different people, and it cuts to an island. These pirates on an island, and they're like, "Hey, what's that in the distance?" And they're like, "Oh crap, it's Hawkeye!" And Hawkeye comes, he lands on this island. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing here? We didn't do anything." And they're like, "He's like, I'm not here for you." So he goes. He's like, "Take me to your leader." He goes to the leader. He's like, "Hey, I got something for you." He's like, "Do we have to do this here? Like, I'm tired. I don't want to fight you right now." He's like, "No, I'm here for that. Here, I'm pretty sure you know this person." And he holds up the flyer, and it's Shanks. And Shanks starts to celebrate. He's like, "Hey, come drink with me, Hawkeye! Yay!" Luffy made it. He finally got on his poster, blah, blah, blah. And so that's cool. And at the very end of the episode, we get a little more backstory, a little more world building, where they talk about they're going towards the Grand Line, and Luffy's like, "Straight ahead towards the Grand Line," and they're like, "No, we have to go to this specific area, because that's the only way ships can get access." It's like a reverse mountain is set on there. We'll see when we get there. But there's also this place called Logetown, or in the Japanese they like
Logetown. Logetown.
Yeah, Logetown. And it is it's the place of beginnings and ends. It's where Jolly Roger was born, and where he was
Gold Roger. Gold Roger. Gold Roger. Jolly Roger is the name in the flag.
Gold Roger, that's what I meant to say. I was just testing you. Okay, so Gold Roger, this is where he was born and where he was executed, and he's like, "Oh, I found the One Piece," and Nami's like, "Do you want to go there?" And he's like, "Yeah, I want to go there. That sounds awesome." And it's a step before access to a part of the Grand Line. So that episode ends. Tell you it was short. 46.
And the next one is Chase Riot, Little Buggy's Big Adventure.
Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, Little Buggy's Adventure. So, we find out that in this episode, at the beginning of the episode, Luffy and Usopp want to play tag, and Zoro's like, no, I don't want to. And then Usopp's like, oh, maybe you're too scared to play tag. He's like, what? Are you serious? Don't say that to me. And he starts chasing him around, and they're playing tag anyway.
Zoro even says, does it count if I kill you?
What?
Zoro even says, does it count if I kill you?
Anyway, so they have lunch or whatever, and they're talking about going to the Grand Line. I think that's what it is. But that's not important. What is important is this is Little Buggy's adventure. We find out that he's actually alive, and he's reminiscing about the day he got attacked by Luffy or defeated by Luffy. And he's on this island, and he built a raft. He's like, aha, I built my raft. I'm ready to get out there. And he goes on his raft, and you notice that he's still very short because all he has is hands and feet and a head, basically. Little torso. What happens is he gets on the raft and he immediately gets attacked by piranhas. He's like, oh crap, not right away. So he, puffs and he's able to get to the next island. He lands on this island and he sees little chick bird. Looks like a chicken, like a chick. And he's like, oh, hello, little bird. And the bird's not much shorter than he is. He's like, oh, little bird, ooh, you look tasty. And a knife and a fork starts chasing this yellow bird around. And he's able to slam the wings down with a knife and fork. He's like, don't struggle. This is your destiny. And he's about to eat this bird, but you see a brother or sister of the baby bird call the mom, and the mom is much bigger, and the mom pulls out a knife and fork and starts chasing Buggy around. And Buggy sets a trap for it, and he's like, ho, once I get this bird, I'm gonna eat like a king. And the bird sees through the trap and springs it, but doesn't fall in, and immediately captures Buggy and starts, eating him basically whole, and puts him in his mouth, and the bird finds Buggy disgusting, spits him out, and he flies to another island. But on this island, we find him hearing a voice. Oh, how dare you land on this island? I'm the secret god that looks over this island. You'll do nothing. You'll leave this place. He's like, what are you talking about? And we find out it's the guy in the treasure chest. And so they get to start fighting, and they kind of go back and forth. They're both like super short. He's like, Buggy uses his powers, and he almost gets the upper hand, and it's kind of a stalemate, but they're still fighting. And then he finds out Buggy's a pirate. He's like, oh, you're a pirate? Oh, I'm a pirate too. And so instead of fighting, they start drinking instead. He's like, oh, you can have all the drinks you want. And he's like getting drunk with all his animal friends, and which is pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. These animals are just. Oh, during the fight, by the way, these animals are just eating fruit, like not giving a crap about their friend. But anyways, so they fight and they have drinks and they reminisce and they talk about days as pirates and they ran into the treasure box guy, ran into this kid who also invited him to be a pirate, and then Buggy reminisces about another child pirate who defeated him, and he hates him and they don't realize they're talking about the same person, which is kind of great. So he helps him. He's like, all right. And so he invites Buggy invites him to be a pirate again. He's like, oh, that means so much to me. Fortunately, I can't. I gotta stay here with my friends. I've been with them for 20 years, kind of thing. And he gets on a raft, and he's like, all right, have fun, Buggy. Enjoy your adventure. He's like, I will. Goodbye. He immediately runs into a giant crab. He's like, oh, crap, I forgot to tell you about the giant crab. And he's getting attacked by this crab, and this heart-shaped boat comes by and sends a cannonball right through this crab with it and picks Buggy up. And she's like, oh, I saved you. All right, cool. Have you seen this person before? Holds up Mr. Luffy. And he's like, oh, yeah, I hate him. And she suggests that they join up. He's like, yep, absolutely. So that's the end of that episode. Nice and short.
And that's our...
Alright, episode 47. Last episode.
The one I didn't watch because I miscounted it. I'll probably watch it before bed tonight. But I already know pretty much what happens.
Yeah, can you say the title quick?
The Wait is Over, The Return of Captain Buggy.
Alright, cool. So in this one, Buggy and the lady join forces to go after Luffy. And she's like, alright, I knew you would go after Luffy. He's like, yeah, I want to get that guy. And she's like, what do you propose we do first? Buggy's like, well, I gotta find my crew. So they set on the ship, and more memories of the crew being defeated by Luffy, and it cuts to let's see, Buggy's crew that's on an island, and they're doing a funeral for Buggy because they presume him to be dead. And they're all kind of crying, and we see the lion tamer guy, and we see the acrobat guy. I don't remember the names.
Moji, and I forgot the sword guy, but the beast tamer is Moji. Kabaji. Kabaji is the other one.
Kabaji and Moji. So they hold the funeral, and immediately they're like, wait a minute, who's going to be captain now? I'm going to be captain. No, I'm going to be captain. So Moji and
Kabaji.
Acrobat. Yeah, Kabaji. They start fighting. They're like, all right, we're going to have a fight. And all the pirates gather around. They build a makeshift arena. So it's like, oh, who's going to win? And they're, on equal power, basically. And they're fighting literally all day. They're fighting all day until they fall asleep. And everybody's falling asleep, and Richie the lion, he has a dream about becoming the captain. And his dream about fighting off a dragon or whatever and being victorious. And in his sleep, he sleepwalks. He punches Moji and Kabaji and defeats them. And the crew hears some commotion, and they're like, oh, Richie, our new captain, Richie. And Richie's like, oh, I am? Oh, yes, I am. Even though he can't talk. I thought he was a lion. I didn't know, he was like a person kind of thing, which is kind of funny. So they're like, yay, awesome, this is so cool. And on this island where they had the funeral and the fight, literally 2 seconds later, they get surrounded with arrows, and they're like, hey, what are you doing on this area? This is we're the Bear Claw tribe. You can't be here. You need to leave. And Richie immediately was like, if he doesn't say anything, but he's like, oh, I'm gonna fight. And they all get defeated, of course. Takes 2 seconds for them to get defeated. And after this, Buggy he sees an island, and he actually sees the ship. For whatever reason, they got lucky and finds the ship. He's like, oh my god, that's my ship. Oh my god, that's where everything is. And the crew is cooked, or the crew is getting cooked. After they land, they're like, he sees the funeral, where the funeral was. He's like, oh my god, they think I'm dead. That means they must be here somewhere. And I think it was Moshi and Kabaji. They find Buggy. They're like, oh my god, Captain, you're alive. So they start crying. They start hugging him. They're like, I can't believe you're alive. Oh my god, this is the greatest day of my life. Like, oh yeah, our crew was taken. And the lady's like, oh, this is the Bear Claw tribe. Yeah, you might want to hurry up. They're about to get eaten, like literally. And we see them like in a giant pot that's starting to boil. And they're like, oh man, don't eat us. We taste horrible. And one of the guys he's like pouring like liquor into the thing. He's like, oh, don't worry, we got enough spices of liquor to make your bad taste go away. They're like, oh no, please help us. And the interesting thing is that Buggy's limbs were tied up before, but now because they want to get eaten, they look at these limbs and are like, oh, how do we eat these limbs? And now that they're free, they're not tied together, Buggy has control over them again. So Buggy's able to fight with his full power, and he comes and saves the day, and he kicks all these guys in the ass, and the entire crew is grateful. They're like, oh my god, Buggy, you're saving us. And he's doing all these amazing attacks, and he kicks all their butts, right? And, yep, reunites with his body, and then he mentions, he's like, oh yeah, I joined this lady. And the crew and the leaders are there, and he's like, yeah, we're going to defeat that Luffy guy. And he's like, yeah, I teamed up with this lady, and, oh, what's her name again? And she said nothing. And that's where that ends. And this is where Luffy and his crew arrive in Logtown. And they're like, hey, what are we going to do? This is like literally not a getting adventure. Oh, what is everybody going to do? Oh, she's like, I'm going to gather more ingredients. I want to find fresh ingredients to cook with. Zoro's like, well, my swords are broken. I need to go to a weapons store and get some new swords. And Usopp is like, I need to go find a store so I can, make new, unique shooting weapons and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, literally D&D. But Nami's just there, and she doesn't want anything. She's just like, we're just here. And Luffy wants to tour this town, so we won't see that until the next episode. But that's where that ends. So cool.
And we'll cover that on Sunday at about 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. I work till 8.
Okay. Well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to unlike and unsubscribe. We're trying to hit that goal of going back. See, if we get enough people to unsubscribe, then we don't have to watch One Piece anymore. So that'd be great.
Also, if you know any kids of elementary school, middle school, high school, they apparently really like this stuff, so share.
More specifically, they are fans of One Piece. So, yeah. Learned that today.
Yesterday.
Kids really like One Piece. I had no idea.
But join us as right now. Join me in an hour or so for Team Rocket D&D. Join us tomorrow for where we're going to review Madness in the Method around 9 or 10 o'clock. Join us for the final review of Season 1 of One Piece on Sunday. And the final.
Oh, the final one? Did we not see you anymore? Great.
Season 1.
I'm loving this. We can review something else then, right?
No.
Let's do it. What?
And final one of this setup. Meaning where we're just going to be going from arc to arc instead of 5 episodes a week.
Oh no! Usually it'd be done. Crying voice. Crying emoji.
And my apologies to whoever, if anybody tried to watch The Disaster. That was the last 2 nights of stream. I was having computer issues, but now it's fixed. Obviously, because there hasn't been any issues. I've been keeping track of my internet, and there hasn't been any issues. I've been checking.
Okay, well that's good. Yeah, we were playing Pokemon D&D, and it was just like, oh, I can't hear you. Connecting. 2 seconds later, oh, I can't hear you again. Connecting. Then it would work for like 2 minutes and be like, oh, it's fixed. And then it would stop again. Snip, snap, snip, snap. How many times do I have to say it?
And yesterday was worse with Matt, or Bulkhead.
Yeah, we had to, well, we were able to improvise, so that was good.
But, like, subscribe, comment, join later. I might even play some Pokemon Fusions while we wait. But join later or tomorrow or Sunday. Like, subscribe, comment. And please let us know your opinion on our titles, because we're trying to figure out what works.
Or what sounds better.
What draws more attention.
Well, don't tell them that. Now they know what you're doing. They're smart.
Also, if anybody knows Kevin Smith or Jason Mewes, show them our review of the 430.